And I am so excited to have Scott Masciarelli, who has been one of my longest standing clients. I won't say oldest because I think you're younger than I am, but one of my longest standing clients, and to really share what's working now in business development and some of his successes. And Scott, I'm so excited for you, just thinking about all of the years that we've worked together, and congratulations on getting your MCC and getting to a point in your business where you are thriving. So can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what your coaching business looks like?
Absolutely. And thank you for being such a long-standing coach with me. You've been here from the very, very beginning, from just after coach training days. I've been doing this now for 11 years. It's hard to believe. I've more than replaced my corporate income. The interesting thing is I didn't set out to be a coach, but through coach training, I coached myself right out of the corporate job. And I work with executives, I work with leaders, I help them become more present, I help them communicate with confidence and ease. I help them to develop stronger teams and to improve their performance and their team's performance. And ideally for their team to really want to work with them. So as to be the leader that people want to work for, just a boss, but to be a leader that somebody really wants to work for. And I also have expanded my business now to incorporate energy clearing, helping people relieve some anything negative or holding them back, really identifying and releasing the unseen. So I've been expanding a lot in my business, achieved MCC last year, also work as a coach trainer with the Leverage for Leaders Coaching Academy, do mentor coaching, supporting coaches. So there's a lot of aspects of the business, which if you had said to me I'd be doing this 10 or 12 years ago, I would have said, I don't think so, but here I am.
And I know that you enjoy variety. So you have created your coaching business to really make that happen for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. My previous background was in the airline business, and no 2 days, no 2 hours were really ever much the same. And that's really much how my coaching business is now. It could be a mentor coaching session into an interview like this, to an executive session, to a career focused session, maybe a little bit of energy clearing. So a day can have a lot of variety, and that's what I enjoy the most. Absolutely.
And I would like to say to anyone, any coach who's listening, everyone knows me. I am a great blend of the practical and the energetic. And I have had some energy sessions with Scott, clearing my own business and myself with some amazing results. So if you're feeling a little stuck and you've gotten coached and you've done everything you know how to do, reach out to Scott. We're going to give you you can see his name right here. You can find him on LinkedIn. Clearinsightscoaching.com is his website. So if you're interested, reach out because you will not regret it. So Scott, you have been very successful. You're doing business on your own terms. What tips would you give to coaches to grow their businesses with, as we say, ease and joy?
Yeah, well, that was your mantra years ago, and I think it still rings true. And for me, it became success on my terms. But I also wanted the ease and the joy. And I think that that's the most important thing, is to identify what one is passionate about. And I did that early on, and it worked for me because it helped me to move into directions without really knowing where I was going, but the intention was clear. I knew what I wanted, but I stayed open and flexible to how it manifested, how it appeared in my life. And certain things would have initially I would have looked at them as maybe not being the right move for the business, but they became more than the right move. So if that makes any sense, right? I was really open to how things unfolded in the business. And that's important, is know where you want to go, know what it is you're offering and who you're working for. That's really a great thing to do. And through our work together, you helped me become crystal clear on who my target audience was. Of course, I like to deviate and go a little bit here and there, but for the most part, my target audience is that global focused leader who has a team, and maybe outside the country, inside the United States, it doesn't matter, but they are working with a multinational group, a multicultural team, and they want to improve their communication. The core root of what I do is help leaders become more effective communicators, but that starts from connecting with themselves first.
Yeah, so what I heard, one thing I heard was get coached. That coaching really
100%.
helped you, and I know you've made a big commitment to coaching, and we have done that for many years. The other thing I heard was to really get clear on who you're going to coach, that target audience. Anything else that you feel has really helped you get to this point in terms of either strategies or tactics that you've used that you can recommend to other coaches?
Consistency is important. Now, I resist a lot of accountability. However, I will say that QSI was truly a game changer for me, and it allowed me to step into my comfort out of my comfort zone, and particularly one of the areas was video. I always loved communication. I enjoyed public speaking. I was in Toastmasters for a long time, but I wasn't looking to incorporate that into my business, particularly not into social media. But what it did for me was help me become clearer and more comfortable communicating on video with a message, a concise message, and also then taking that skill and being able to turn it into an online program and training that I use with and team group and team coaching. So it was multi-purpose, which is great. And I think that the other thing that for me was important was following the ease in my business. So if it was easy, I followed it. If it was difficult, I stopped, I would back up and stop banging my head against the wall and really identify the intention. Like, what am I doing this for? Why am I not getting the results? And there's one conversation that you and I had many, many years ago where I was in that place. I was a new coach. I was struggling. I was trying, that's the key word. I was trying to make it happen, trying to do everything. And you said, are you having fun with this? And that was a game changer, that one word, because fun is one of my top core values. And I realized that no, I wasn't having fun. I love coaching, but I wasn't having fun building the business. And that got me to reflect on 25 years of corporate, that I never went into work with the intention of having fun. Fun may have happened along the way. So when I shifted that and made everything with the intention of, if this is fun, I'll do it. If it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. When I did that, everything just opened up dramatically.
And here's a question I have for you. You said if it was easy, you would move toward it, but if it was difficult, you wouldn't. And yet I know that resistance can mean this isn't right, but it can also mean you're headed out of your comfort zone, and this is a resistance to kind of overcome. So how do you tell the difference between those two?
It's a great question. I would feel into it. So I would pull back, I'd pause, I would center myself, really be present with what it was that I was going to do. And if it was in my heart somewhere, but then there was the mind overriding it, I would get the messages from the heart, get the messages from the mind, get the messages from my gut also. What's the feeling around this? There were there were times where it was very clear that in all three areas, like the head was saying, do this because you need to do it. You should do it. This is the way to, but nothing else. My gut wasn't aligned and my heart wasn't aligned. Those times where my heart was aligned, and for example, communicating, but I didn't really know how. My mind would say, well, maybe don't do it that way, maybe do it this way. But my heart was saying, no, do it. But the mind was kind of overriding it. You're not going to get the results that you want. I would go with it if it was from my heart. If I
Mhm.
felt it in my heart, if I felt that passion, if I felt that joy, that fun, whether it's in my abdomen, my gut, or my heart, I would go with it. If it was just from my head, I would not go with it. And that's what I was saying, is that I became really surprised with what happened, because almost like that, two major opportunities happened within weeks of us having that conversation and me just saying, I'm going to just have fun with this. Like
Mhm.
the heck with it. Let me just have fun. And great things happened.
And so what were those great things? Can you tell us some of the results that occurred? Absolutely.
Absolutely. The conversation happened back in 2013, so almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
And within a month of, exactly, like quarter three or so of 2013, within a month of that, two opportunities came. One to become an internal coach in an organization, basically replacing my corporate salary, but on my terms. So it wasn't a full-time gig, which was important to me because I wanted time to build my business outside of that. But it was an incredible experience on many, many levels. And then the other one became to be a facilitator and instructor with a coach training organization. And both started on the first day of January 2014. So I was like, okay, what happened here? What shifted? And I know what shifted. I shifted. And that's what I work a lot with my leaders is create the inner shift first. And once I got out of my own way, once I stopped trying to make it happen and efforting, okay, effort is there and effort is fine. But when I was struggling and felt that resistance, and I was clear that, okay, that's not the right thing to do. It's just not aligned. When I pulled back, I lightened up a little bit, I had more ease with it. I allowed myself to enjoy what I was doing, had fun with it. Everything shifted.
Now let's fast forward to the pandemic. And
Yes.
I want to say this for anyone who's listening. This is a lesson. I invited Scott to participate in the QSI, Quick Start Intensive, many times. I don't even know how many times. I just kept asking him and he kept saying, no, 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 no. But I didn't let that stop me. But there was one point where right during the pandemic where it was really helpful for you. So do you want to say, why did you join then and what happened?
Yeah, but I want to go back to a year before that because that's when, so Karen probably invited me 5, 6 times, who knows, right? Probably every time you had one, this would be great for you. I think this would be great for you. And we've worked together all these years. And I'm like, no, 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 because I resisted that accountability. I didn't want it all the time. Wanted it on my terms. And then it was 2019. I was sitting in a hotel room in Angola, working with a client on a coaching project. That was a year-long project, multiple visits and virtual in between. I had a really busy year in 2019, and Karen said, I think you could join this QSI coming up. I think it was in March or February or March. And I'm thinking to myself, not another, here we go again. And I thought, you know what? Just do it. Like, why not do it? Just see what this is about and do it. I did it. It was great. I more than achieved the goals that I put out for myself. I didn't realize that they were going to be so achievable with that consistency, with the structure, with the partner conversations, the training, the office hours, the whole structure program, the whole structure of the QSI program is great. Then 2020 came around and you invited me again to come back. And I thought, I don't know about this, but it was a great time because I had just been laid off as that internal coach that I had done for quite a few years. And I went from, coach that part of my business being like this much of my income and my private clients being down here. And I knew I had to, because now this went down to a very, very small independent contractor stipend, you could call it, just to, do a couple things during the pandemic and keep that part of the business alive with the people in the business. So it was the right time and it was great because it got me to really focus on expanding my own product, got me to expanding my own brand and being even clearer because now I didn't have the cushion of all of that income coming in from a corporate coach, which was very satisfying. And I had to really do it on my own. So the timing was perfect.
And you did it.
And I did it. Yeah, I did it.
You took the consistency and the accountability, which you had resisted. So I just really want to acknowledge you for all of that. I mean, you really did well. So let me ask you this, what difference has that made in your life to know that you really can do your own business and create that kind of income and lifestyle for yourself without having to depend on another business?
It's incredibly empowering. Incredibly empowering. And the short story of that is that after the pandemic, that organization wanted more of me. And I was simply too busy. And the only way it was going to happen was if it was on my terms. And we did find a mutually beneficial arrangement that would work out for both of us. But it's incredibly empowering when you realize I can do it. During a pandemic, 2020 was actually the best year for my business, which I think was pretty impressive. And a lot of it was because of QSI and then me with that mindset of, okay, this is going to happen. It has to happen. Let's see where it goes. And I opened myself up energetically to doing it on my own versus having the cushion from that larger, that internal coach position. So you're very empowering.
It's great to see this for you because where my motto is success with ease and joy, yours is success on my own terms. And I know that about you. It's so important. So as we're wrapping up here, Scott, I just want to say it's such an honor to be your coach and to watch all of the growth that you've had over all these years. And I would like to know, what advice would you give? Like, what final piece of advice would you give to any coach who's watching now? if they're in their first few years of business and they're not doing as well as they want and they have a vision, what would you say to them?
Well, I think get a coach. I don't care how you do it, but get a coach because it's so important. And what surprises me the most is that when I tell people I'm meeting with my coach and they say, "Oh, you have a coaching session?" Yes, but it's for me. Why do you have a coach? You are a coach. I said, exactly. I would never do this business without a coach because we're continually improving. And as coaches, we're always learning. So it's the best way for me to learn, to reflect off of you, to know what's working, what's not working, and also a program that will allow you to connect with that community of other coaches. QSI is a great example of that, where there's the opportunity for accountability, which is incredibly important. And I do create my own version of accountability, right? It's a little bit it's kind of on my terms, but it
Right.
works. It works. And I make sure that everything gets done. So get the support that you need, join a community that provides that support and gives you even more than that, provides you that learning opportunity, and follow your passion, and follow what's fun, follow the energy, have fun with this, because if you're not having fun with this, no one's going to have fun working with you.
Yeah, and fun. It's so weird about coaching. When we're having fun, we get results too. Like that's the crazy
We
and
do.
beautiful, wonderful part of all of this. And I really thank you, Scott, because you are a model to all coaches that you can work, you can have a niche, but you can have a few niches if you just build them one on the other and have that level of success. And I've just loved seeing your persistence. And and the other question I've been asking the coaches is, one of the things that happens with QSI is lifelong relationships. Did you make any good friends in QSI that you still connect with to this day?
Absolutely. Yeah, a couple of the coaching buddies, the QSI buddies, we're still in touch, and we put a standing call is on the calendar every single month to connect and to talk. And it's not always about business. Sometimes business comes in there, but it's really just more about life. We become friends, and that's incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Scott, for being here today, for letting us know how coaches can get into success. Can you just share how can anybody get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about anything you've said today?
Sure. Clear Insights Coaching is my website. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. And the email is info@Clear Insights Coaching.
Okay, great. Thank you, Scott,
Thank
and
you.
have a great day. And coaches, listen to this again because you got a lot of nuggets of wisdom here.
Thank you, Karen.